forsaking the evolutionary religions of fear without immediately grasping the revelatory religion of love. Religion's common goal of love will be the unifying force. However, I recognize this all begins at the individual level. On the same page, it says, religion is first an inner or personal adjustment, and then it becomes a matter of social service or group adjustment. This guidance in paper 100 reminded me that through experiencing the love of the Father in our lives and then expressing it to others, we can contribute to the planet's evolution of faith. The concept of religious love is not always agreed upon to be the panacea, I recognize, but rather viewed as the source of the problem among those individuals who hold that religions are responsible for the conflict in the world. I remember having this conversation with a co-worker, someone who proudly labeled themselves as an atheist. And what this person was failing to recognize, in my opinion, was that religion can be a force for good in the world by its concern for the welfare of people. However, as the URANTIA book tells us, it is not the institution itself, but it is the good itself that does the good, but the people who belong to the institution. Paper 99 is instructive. A godless humanitarianism is, humanly speaking, a noble gesture. But true religion is the only power which can lastingly increase the responsiveness of one social group to the needs and sufferings of other groups. Currently, the Occupy movements, those seeking greater economic justice, are making their voices heard. The revelation speaks to the situation. In the past, institutional religion could remain passive, while the upper strata of society turned a deaf ear to the sufferings and oppression of the lower strata. But in modern times, these lower social orders are no longer so abjectly ignorant or politically helpless. Our URANTIA's teachings tell us that this is to be expected, that there will be the rising up that we are currently seeing. So then I wondered about the role of religion in addressing the economic disparity that these protesters are standing against. I had only to look at paper 99, again under weakness of institutional religion, where it says, institutionalized religion cannot afford inspiration and provide leadership in this impending worldwide social reconstruction and economic reorganization, because it has unfortunately become more or less of an organic part of the social order and the economic system, which is destined to undergo reconstruction. From reading this passage, I understood that institutional religion cannot contribute to reconstructing society until it has first reconstructed itself. And that cannot happen until society has been reconstructed. As I contemplated these words, a deep peace came over me. And I was reflecting on page 1087 in the URANTIA book. Only the real religion of personal spiritual experience can function helpfully and creatively in the present crisis of civilization. This brings me back to the love of God and the individual experience of that love. The revelation has guided me to knowing of the significance of each person's spiritual connection to the Father. It is each of us who are living from the love of God and feeling that inside us who can help our beloved planet URANTIA. It is not the society that will do that. It is not the religions. It is each of us. It is through the experience of the love of God that we can be of service to others with an open heart. I truly believe now that this is how we can make a difference. It all starts knowing that we are so loved by God. I grew up in a religion which preached the fear of God. Finding the URANTIA book and learning of the religion of love gave me an inner realization that this is a book of God. The liberation that comes from knowing that we are loved so deeply by our Creator is an amazing gift. Researchers are now validating the positive benefits to general mental health when individuals truly accept the love of God in their lives. In research for my graduate degree in psychology, I was fascinated by the work of Dr. Sparrow at the University of Texas, whose research showed that a person's well-being can be significantly positively altered by an experience of God in which they feel completely loved and completely known by the Father. This researcher documented the importance of the experience of God's love in positively changing an individual's mental well-being and emotional well-being. Desire for love was the underlying theme for me as I toured Israel last year. As I became more educated and about the religious tensions of the region, I reflected on the notion that each of these groups sought an expansive feeling of love in their lives. That was their commonly held ideal. My contribution as a URANTIA reader was then to simply be an expression of that love that I knew in my heart was common to us all. Those I traveled with in Israel had no idea that we held different religious beliefs. It was not the time or place to share my understanding. However, I felt love for each of my fellow travelers. The response was an incredible warmth and acceptance. For a moment in time, our religious differences ceased to exist. I had a real sense of how each of us can contribute to greater planetary peace. As URANTIA readers, we are so fortunate to have this revelation and knowing that we are part of God's love. We have the opportunity to share this love in a world that is often disconnected from this experience. The strength of the URANTIA community is the depth of love that is demonstrated by the readers. I have been blessed to have met readers such as Eleanor Gaynor in Seattle, who exemplifies the teaching of loving service. I've also been fortunate to experience the genuine warmth and love of the URANTIA Montreal community, and most especially Lynn St. Pierre and Etienne Charlin, who are both leading such inspiring lives of service to the Father. Kathy Wanamaker has also touched my life by her loving dedication to these teachings. I hope that each of you get to know the URANTIA readers who can be shining lights in your journey as they have been on mine. Today in our world, which is so ridden by despair, worry, and conflict, the URANTIA book offers hope through a life of experiencing a personal connection with our loving Father and being of service to others.